Dear Dry Diaries, it's been years since my ex and I broke up. Literally, I can't get over him. How do I move on when I'm still in love with him?
Let me know when you find out.
You're not over your ex?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No,
Am
you're
I?
This is the Dry Diaries with your author, Alex Dry.
Hey guys, what's up? It's your author, Alex Dry, and I am back with another entry of Dry Diaries. I'm here with Alex Hager. I first met Alex when I started working at Flipagram and actually hired him on as an influencer. In the early days, I guess it was Musically.
Or Vigo Video.
Vigo Video. There's been so many transitions. But fast forward, not only did we become close friends, we also ended up living together in a crazy content house. Casablanca, which is also haunted. Crazy. And you're a musician, celebrity influencer trainer, and he is launching his fitness app. How long have you been working on it?
We're coming up on 3.5, 4 years now.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a 3 to 6 month timeline.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it takes a while to develop apps.
Yeah.
Especially finding like coders, back-end content. Did you get backing for it?
No, I funded it all myself.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
Yeah. I wish I didn't. Oh, where'd the money go?
Yeah. Before we get into everything as far as like the content house we lived in, your fitness app, I guess what you're doing now on tour, I want to do a little icebreaker. Dear Dry Diaries confessions. I'm going to ask you a few questions. How do you stay motivated when you don't want to work out?
It's funny. I was actually thinking about that the other day. It's so easy with fitness to go 100% and then fall off. And it can be really tough to get back on. I think if there was one cut and dry answer, I think it's always setting goals. Mm-hmm. I think what makes it really easy and like prone to falling off when you're working out is getting into this mindset of going through the motions where you're just showing up, but you don't know really why you're showing up. And I think when you don't always have a goal in mind, it just makes that a lot easier. So I think if you're always setting goals, whether it's to get stronger on a certain lift or to get bigger or to get leaner, but always setting very clearly defined goals, when you have a path forward, you usually tend to stay on it.
Because I feel like for myself, like I set goals and yes, I'm going to go to Pilates every day, 2025.
Yeah.
And then it just, obviously I make it like 2 days.
We've all been there.
Would you say like the best thing to do is just set very small goals? Like maybe I want to lose an inch or maybe I want to go to Pilates 3 days a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
And
it can be like an occurrence thing, like a frequency thing about like how often you go. For me, it's always been like, okay, I either want to get like this weight or this body fat, or I want to increase this lift. And regardless of whether the goal is big or small, it's just having them clearly defined. Because if they're not defined goals, the definition of them can always change. But if you're very like cut and dry about this is the goal I want, and every day you're taking the actionable steps to get there, I think it's a lot more motivating when you feel like the work you're putting in is amounting to something and getting you closer to like your goal essentially.
With your clients, do you set timelines or are they like, oh, I give it 3 months or I want to do this for a month?
A lot of clients, they're in different situations and I'm very hands-on with my client. So like as much as they want, I will give, whether it comes to diet, whether it comes to workout. Some of the influencers I used to train, I had to wake them up in the morning.
Yeah.
I will give as much as I need to help them hit their goal. But some are more responsible and disciplined than others. Some are going to drink every weekend heavily. Some are not going to eat the best. So I think it really depends on the client itself. I try to set goals for them or help them like decide on their goals, whether it's to lose a certain amount of weight or whether it's to fit in this old pair of jeans, just always setting some sort of goal to help them stay motivated along the way.
Yeah. I think that's one of my biggest regrets from Casablanca is not utilizing you. I was the girl that would go on
the elliptical.
Oh, the elliptical.
Hey, I mean, you used it more than anybody. Would you ever just, because your room was right above the gym, did you ever peep down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would go on the balcony, remember?
Yeah.
I think whenever you were training Jaden.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, who's that? I didn't know who he was when he first came over.
Yeah. I love that kid, though. He's so
cool.
Cool.
He was so sweet when I met him. I think he told me he was from Texas.
Yeah, he's originally from Texas. You were the first person to buy my booty bands.
I was. I still have them.
This is how good and honest Alex as a person is. I lived literally under her. I lived in the staircase under her room, basically. And I had so many booty bands, and I put them for sale, and I checked my Shopify account, and already Alex bought them. And so the shipping time was pretty quick. Walking upstairs and giving them to you.
I still have them in my little workout compartment. They're like green, pink, purple.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's one piece of gym etiquette people break that secretly drives you nuts?
See, this is interesting because if I didn't live in LA, I think there would be like really obvious ones, like re-racking your weights or wiping down your equipment. But I'm sure unless you're working on an Equinox, it's a free-for-all in LA. It's the Wild West out here. So nobody's wiping down their equipment. Nobody's re-racking their weights. So I'm just like accustomed to that. Maybe this will offend people, but my biggest pet peeve in the gym is smelly people.
Oh, yeah.
And I know it's obvious people are sweating, but there's some people I'm like, how do you smell this bad? If I cannot be in a 15-foot perimeter of you, you can shower before the gym too.
So gross. Yeah, and there's usually showers at the gym.
Yeah. So
I'm
a before and after shower guy. So my water bill might be a little bit higher.
Yeah.
But I refuse to start my day and like sweat and smell terrible.
No.
So smelly people, you can smell a little bit, but there's thresholds.
Yeah, no.
Smell less. I was doing pull-ups yesterday, and there was a dude like 10 feet next to me, and I'm like, I cannot even be in his presence. I'm going to go do lat pull downs.
No. I like hate smells are literally my worst pet peeve. Like I really can't with smells.
Yeah, it's rough.
Oh my gosh, ew. And I get it, like filming yourself at the gym, but when you're literally just filming to do like the 3 reps and you're not working out.
Oh yeah, I guess that's another pet peeve is like self-awareness.
I know you love karaoke.
Sure do.
We've done too many karaoke nights together. What's your go-to karaoke song these days?
Alex and I have done a lot of karaoke over the years.
Yeah.
I think I had 1 or 2 songs, but we've expanded since then. So we've
Not
always got
Stacey's
the pop.
Mom.
We've always got the pop punk classics. You've got the Stacy's Mom, the All the Small Things, the middle. But I've actually expanded quite a bit now.
Okay.
Because I always thought you never want to end up at karaoke and not know what to sing. So I have an entire dedicated karaoke Spotify playlist.
Oh, wow. What's the first 3?
We've got 1983 by Neon Trees, Everybody Talks by Neon Trees, Creep. Oh, yeah, Creep's a good one.
Creep, yeah.
With or Without You Two, Sweet Home Alabama, Home Sweet Home, Motley Crue. That's been a popular one recently. Yeah, there's so many. In the End, Linkin Park.
Okay.
There's 40 songs.
They're still like punkish.
They still got the rock vibes.
Yeah, rock, punk, yeah. Do you still go to karaoke?
I haven't been in probably 6 months.
Okay.
This is my reminder to go back.
Does Saddle Ranch still do it?
Yeah, Jeff hits me up every week.
Yeah, so at the time, it was the only country bar, and they would have karaoke nights. And so we would go every Tuesday night and take too many pickleback shots with tequila for me. But do you do whiskey?
I didn't even know what alcohol was in it, so I just said yes.
Yeah, or is it whiskey?
It's typically whiskey.
It is? Okay, yeah. I just knew it was dark, and I was like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I feel like pickle juice is like the best kept secret of chasers and drowning out alcohol.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my gosh, side note, I was literally dying laughing because I was going through my old YouTube channel, and there's a video that we did in my bathroom at Casablanca, and I was doing your makeup for Coachella, and we were taking pickleback shots. That was the only country bar during the time. Alex would karaoke and literally perform like a whole show. Obviously, like you're a musician, but like I'm telling you, like sliding knees on the ground, getting on tables, air guitar.
Getting on the bowl.
Yeah, getting on the bowl. Like, and everyone was obsessed with it. And I feel after girls would be like, oh my God. Like they thought.
I need all the help I can get.
No, that's not true. But it would be so funny. People loved it. But yes, we need to do karaoke again. I would
always wake up and I'd just look down at because I'd always like jump and slide on my knees.
Yes.
And I didn't feel anything at the time because of the pickleback shots. But then I'd wake up the next day and I'm like, what happened to my knees?
Just bruises everywhere.
Yeah, it looks like I went to war.
I can't give my input on a karaoke song because I don't karaoke.
You're an observer.
Yeah, I go for the vibes and I'll sing along.
You're
and
a judge.
Cheer. Yeah, I'll cheer people on, but I am the Simon Cowell of the karaoke, I would say.
Sense, yeah.
Or maybe, yeah. I'm not like judging too hard.
Sometimes the melody is a little bit off. We have to carry it with the performance. You know?
Right. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Oh, this is good. I really want to know your input. What are your thoughts on Ozempic?
Interesting. I feel like most people in the fitness industry would probably say only negative things about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have to do more research on all the side effects and the way it affects your body. But I think it's tough because obviously, like me wanting to stay employed, I'm going to be like, okay, just do proper diet and exercise and do it the right way. But obviously there's people that have struggled for a really long time and that I wouldn't say it hasn't worked for them, because proper diet and exercise pretty much works for everybody. And you'll always hear people with a million excuses, but genuinely at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, some people haven't shown that level of discipline, and to the point where their health is at serious risk, whether they're obese or they have high cholesterol. There's inherent health risks of being overweight. For those people, if they take Ozempic, I would probably think the side effects of Ozempic temporarily are less extreme than several years of being an unhealthy body weight.
Yeah.
So for those scenarios, I don't dismiss Ozempic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always going to be somebody that says diet and exercise, you should do those first. Absolutely. Because I know people can do it. But Ozempic is like the first thing that actually does work in terms of what it's prescribed to do. Because you've got the fat burner pills, you've had all the BS saying you take this, you lose weight, and they've all been complete BS. But Ozempic, like, you can meet a lot of people that take it, any form of GLP-1, whether it's Manjaro or Ozempic.
Isn't it like semaglutide?
Yeah, semaglutide or semi-glutide, something like that.
Yeah. Wait, so is that the factor in these pills that make you lose weight? Is the GLP-1?
GLP-1,
Okay.
yeah.
Because I think Kourtney Kardashian came out with a vitamin that has GLP-1 in it.
I think it could be potentially dangerous because it has side effects. It's not like a magic pill with no consequences. But if somebody's going to be overweight for an extremely long period of time and they need something to help them get down there, obviously diet and exercise, I'm always going to argue for.
Yeah.
But Ozempic does work. Like, you can't deny the results. And we all have probably seen people in our personal life that have taken some form of it and they've changed overnight. Like, you look at Kelly Clarkson, for example, and she looks like a whole new human being.
Oh,
I'm sure she had the money to have a trainer, and I'm sure she had the money for a lot of things. But, I mean, she looks like a whole new human being.
Yeah. I don't have anything against it. I just personally, like, hate taking medicine.
Yeah, I feel like I'm supposed to, like, vehemently disagree with it and being like, absolutely don't take it. It's the worst. I feel like that's what I'm supposed to say. But I'm not just like somebody that my whole life I've lived and breathed fitness. I understand what it's like to be fat. I understand what it's like to be skinny. I love food. I've been in so many different parts of my life, and I understand it's tempting. So I don't look down on people that consider it. And I think if I was super like overweight and I was completely foreign to the gym, I totally understand the appeal. And it's only getting cheaper and cheaper. So I understand it. So I would love to like be like, oh no, fitness only, but I get it.
My favorite question. So excited. What's one conspiracy theory you secretly believe in or think might be true? Wait, before I dive into this with you, I do want to say Alex is one of the most articulated speakers, but also thinkers I know. I feel like you think very deeply on like subjects, or it's just maybe the way like you articulate your words. But I think we've talked about like conspiracy theories here and there before, especially at Casablanca. Phil.
So for the record, Aiden is the conspiracy theory guy. Like,
I know.
He's always like going down some rabbit hole. And I've been somebody that like historically is a conspiracy theater hater because I'm just like, guys, get a grip.
I think that's what I meant by a deep thinker.
But I would say, I don't know if this is a conspiracy theory, but aliens. And as like silly as that is, and who knows what form that is. But when you think about like our galaxy, are observable galaxies in the distance, when you think about like how long we've been around, it messes with your brain the more you think about it, because you can't really conceptualize it because like we just don't understand. But when you think about it, it's so impossible for there not to be. Even if that's just like bacteria, or it's a completely like a planet with algae and bacteria, or people or animals, or there's just so much time and so many possibilities and so much we don't know that it almost feels like ignorant to think that we're the only ones.
Yeah.
I don't even think there's alien life here or even close. Like, I don't think it's like anything we will ever see in our lifetime. And I don't think like aliens are going to come visit us or anything like that.
Okay.
I just think that it's more likely than it is not that whether it's today, tomorrow, or in the past, there's had to be some other form of life. Because you think about what supports life. It's carbon. It's an atmosphere. It's water, whether that's frozen or liquid form. There's so many things that are required for human life to exist. And you look at Mars, for example, there might not be evidence of life there now, but we see that there's like frozen ice, or which hints that like in the past there was an atmosphere that may have sustained life. And you think that's just like
crazy.
one planet, and that's pretty close to us in the grand scheme of things. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just, it has to exist somewhere, or did at some point.
Yeah. No, I'm a big believer in aliens. I don't know if it's the things that we see on TV or what we even think about, but my thing on aliens is, if the government for so long has hidden the bill, there's a lot of presidents that wanted to go into office. And the reason that they weren't put into office is because they wanted to release the files that alluded to the fact that they had extraterrestrial life, or that they were working on UFOs, like at Area 51. I think it was JFK actually was one of them.
Okay.
But there's a couple of them, and a lot of them didn't go into office or were killed early in office. And the common factor is that they wanted to release a bill on UFOs. All that to say is, my other thing, Bob Lazar, whenever like the documentary came out and all that stuff, I was like, okay, like this is a little crazy. I don't know, maybe he's trying to get famous. But the more I deep dove into the whole story about him, it's really crazy, because I feel like if he wanted the fame, he wouldn't have gone about what happened the way that he did. Do you know the background? Or
Very little. Very little.
So basically, don't quote me on all, I may mess up some facts, but he was at Air Force Academy, and that's where he got his degree. And then he started working in Area 51. I think he was somewhere prior to that. But basically, he said that everywhere they went, you obviously had to have a key badge to get in. And it was like very secured areas, and you could only go to that little area that you were supposed to be in. And so his area was working on element 115, which basically like defies gravity. And then I'm pretty sure I know he worked on a UFO, studying like a UFO. And he said that the ceiling height was like so little, and there's little seats in it, and he was just saying like everything's really little. And at first I was like, this sounds crazy, but anyways, the whole thing about it is he claimed to have seen, or that they were studying an alien at that time. There was like a crash or something, but he took they thought he took an element of 115 with him and buried it somewhere that defied gravity. And you're like looking at me like I'm crazy.
Now I'm like, this is a rabbit hole.
It's literally a rabbit hole. But anyways, long story short is, I thought it was bullshit. Then I did more research, and I'm like, okay, I don't know why he'd be making this up. At this point now, he's had the FBI after him. He's had his house raided. He's had his office raided. His wife has been threatened. He's been threatened. He went back to try to get another job, and obviously couldn't work anywhere. They had erased everything about him, including that he had gotten a degree at the Air Force Academy. Like anything of him like going to school before was like erased, all records.
So people are in on it for sure.
Yeah, of course. And so I'm just like, okay, why would you go to those extremes to erase something if something wasn't true or something was to be said about it?
Yeah. Now you got me thinking. I got to do some digging.
Yeah, you do. It's crazy. But then it brings me into the fact that there is this thing. Have you heard of like the blue beam theory?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so this is like a whole other topic. It's like really too long to get in on this episode, but basically it's like a holographic projection. They did it actually in downtown LA. They do it like for marketing stuff. It looks like there's something coming out of the sky. Like it looks like something's real.
Okay.
It's I think they did it like for a dinosaur, something crazy.
Okay.
And it looks really cool. Like it's great marketing. It's so real in your face. Like it's not on a billboard, it's not on like a projection screen, anything. But it's like being projected. It has to be being projected in the sky or like from a drone or something. But supposedly there's like a whole agenda around it. And a lot of people think that some UFO sightings may, or like the coming or the revelation or reveal of aliens is like going to be aligned with the blue beam theory. So it's not necessarily going to be real. Like those are people that are like conspiracy theories, but trying to debunk it, which doesn't make sense. But yeah, you should look it up whenever you leave.
Okay.
It goes like
that's
way
tempting.
deeper. Like it's.
And let me like clarify. I don't necessarily believe in UFOs, honestly. I think that if there is like any form of alien life,
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen it. For example, we're trying to go to Mars right now, and it's going to take years, and we're going to do it without humans first, and then we're going to try it with humans.
But we went to the
and it's
moon.
going to take forever. But yeah, like it's not a one-day trip.
Yeah.
It takes time. So like, why would there be any reason? Just the physical limitations of having to make a trip to Earth from some place we can't even observe just doesn't logically make sense to me. And obviously, none of this stuff really makes logical sense at all. But I think that like, when you think about how Earth formed in terms of 4.6 billion years ago and the Big Bang Theory and how everything just worked together in this like magic recipe, this had to happen at some other point, whether that was like today, yesterday, or sometime in the future. And so many things happened for us to get here, like so many improbable variables. And so you think about if there's some other planet somewhere that has a lot of the same recipes to have life exist, are they completely different species? Was there something similar to a human? If so, what did their civilizations look like? And did they go to space? I don't know. There's just so many crazy things. Maybe they're all stupid and they just got exterminated. But I don't know. It's just really perplexing to think about all the possible variables. It really just gives you a headache, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's interesting.
It doesn't give me a headache. I love to discuss it. But okay, so what do you think about the UFO sightings? Because I feel like there's been like some legit ones. And also they did come out and say that there was UFOs or aliens. But
I think it's more likely that it's either like some form of asteroid or it's some form of like foreign spy or it's some sort of like accident we made. So for example, there's like tons, I don't know about tons, but there's examples of things that like the United States have done that have been very bad. And I wish I could think of all the examples on the top of my head, but there's like bombs that like went off that or like nuclear explosions or bombs that like the US signed off on that they'll never admit to. And because it's like a bad look, because it either had like bad ecological impacts or people died. I can't think, obviously, on the top of my head of these. I'm not a historian by any stretch of the imagination. But I think that there's a lot of things that either the government has done that people don't agree with, that weren't signed off on, or it's like an infringement on privacy. I think there's a lot of possible explanations, and I'm not trying to defend and deny everything. But I think most of the time it's probably like some privacy concern.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I definitely think that, I don't know if we're living like in a simulation or what it really is, but
Feels like it sometimes.
Honestly, yeah. I feel like there's different portals or something going on. But I think that even like, for instance, like The Simpsons, it's been around for forever. And if you go back to some of the episodes, it literally predicted or gave us the answer to like certain things that's happened already. So fun fact, I think that the Simpsons writer, producer, whatever it was, is a time traveler.
I mean, very well could be.
Yeah.
I do have a crazy theory I thought about the other day.
Okay, let's hear it.
So you're religious, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not like super religious. But I had this like theory the other day, and nuclear energy had me thinking about this. 'Cause I'm a big fan of nuclear energy. I think it's very underutilized. I think we could use it a lot more. It has expensive like operating costs to begin with, but over time it makes a lot more sense, and the environmental impact is very low.
Okay, you lost me, but follow.
What if there's other planets across the world. Obviously, there's other planets, but like other planets that may have sustained life at some point. And let's say God is 100% real. What if we are living in some sort of simulation and every planet has a test? And the test is to beat the system. And the system is, can you sustain life and become multiplanetary, not destroying your own? Because we're very well aware that there's many events that lead to the destruction of our environment, whether that's natural, whether that's caused by humans. There's obviously a combination of both. But like nuclear energy, for example, has a very low environmental impact. So are we all in the simulation test of like who finally figured it out? I don't know. I just got obsessed with this idea the other day. Was it our goal to become multiplanetary and survive all the wars and make sure we don't all kill each other and make sure our Earth can live forever? And if it doesn't, we can expand. Is this all just one big test and like seeing which civilization, which planet, which galaxy figured it out first? And God's just testing y'all. I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting. I've thought about it like that.
I might have been smoking a little bit of weed when I thought about this.
That's all good. I like get literally rabbit holes on TikTok and just go from there. At first, I started talking about conspiracy theories literally over 10 years ago. Simulations, I've always thought about that because I feel like there is technology going back to the Simpsons thing. Someone predicted all these things that have happened so long ago, and I think that maybe this guy who was the director was a time traveler, and he was basically giving us warning signs of, hey, listen, I can't tell you outright this is going to happen publicly, but I will make a show about it. That's stupid. There's little yellow characters. And really it's...
Yeah, Simpsons and like Ray Bradbury, like classic examples. Of
Ray Bradbury.
A super famous author, Fahrenheit 451. Yeah.
Wait, what is this?
You should look into it after.
Yeah, tell me a little.
Because like people always talk about The Simpsons, but they forget to talk about Ray Bradbury.
What is this?
He's a famous author, but he like in his books and a lot of things that he said, he's spoken about things in the future. A lot of it was like dystopian kind of literature, talking about like things that would exist in an imperfect society. Oh. And a lot of this like theories have come to be true.
Interesting. Have they taken off the shelves?
No, but I think that at one point it was considered. Yeah. I don't know for sure though.
Yeah, I know that there's like another author, or she's actually was big on TikTok. She was a holistic doctor, and you've probably heard of her. I could look up her name. But she would basically break down elements and then like vitamins and all this stuff and talk about how all these different herbs and everything or vitamins could cure X, Y, and Z. And she was at one of her retreats and they just arrested her.
Wild.
There's really no reason.
Trying to shut her down.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah, but I could literally talk about conspiracies all day. Side note, I got Botox yesterday and...
Does your face feel frozen?
She did it in my forehead.
I swear you haven't aged since you were like 27.
I know. I just get
can't say the same about myself. I have gray hair and wrinkles.
You literally look the same.
Definitely need Botox here, though.
I get baby Botox. Go to Dr. K. She said that she wants more guy influencers. Shout out Dr. K. She's the best.
I'm writing that one down.
Yeah, if you're in LA, honestly, I've been going to Dr. K for 4 years now. And she does everything. She's starting to do like IVs, NAD. Oh, I want to ask you about NAD. Have you done it?
NID?
NAD.
Never heard of it.
Really? It's basically something that you can put in an IV, but you can also get a shot of it. As your body ages, you lose NAD. Going back to conspiracies, a lot of celebrities do NAD.
Okay.
And supposedly that's what keeps them looking young.
Okay.
And so, yeah, you should look more into it. I want to try it. What?
Said that in Facetune.
Yeah, maybe Facetune. Facetune, that's such like a
know,
throwback.
So old.
Okay, now we're going to turn the page and do a dry deep dive into the content house, your fitness training, and your new app.
Okay.
I remember that we had an extra room, and either we were just in talks or I reached out to you.
I think I might have reached out to you, actually.
Yeah.
Because I kept seeing the stories on Instagram, and like the front of that house just looked crazy, especially in LA. It looked like a drug dealer house. It was just so gaudy, and it had this beautiful, huge staircase leading up to it. And I was like, this is so cool. And I think I messaged you about it.
Yeah.
You had a party at the house.
Okay.
You had a party for Drip Dry, I think.
Oh.
And you asked me to come, and I like came in like a bathing suit or something.
Yes.
Or swim trunks. And we had a good time. And then we were talking on the couch, and I think you posed the opportunity and you were like, hey, I think this person's getting kicked out, or somebody's moving. It was the really tall girl. She was leaving.
Oh yeah, she was leaving.
And to imagine she lived in that room is crazy because
Oh my
she's
God.
so tall.
It's like an influencer who's 7 foot tall.
Yeah, not even exaggerating. Like
Yeah.
the tallest woman I've ever met in my life. So you said she was moving out, and you were like, would you want to move? And I jumped on it because it was like the perfect situation. I was in Studio City in this apartment that had so many problems, and I had so many noise complaints. Basically, everybody wanted to be gone, including myself.
Yeah.
But I'd lived with Aiden for so long, my roommate, and I didn't really want to leave him. But I gave him like an ultimatum and been like, hey, do you want to move in?
Yeah.
Because I'm moving in, and I don't want to leave you out to dry. Because this makes so much sense. It was only $1,300 a month for me. Keep in mind, it was a super small room. I was in a room under the steps. I was in literally a Harry Potter room.
Right.
But it was $1,300 a month. I didn't have to pay the security deposit. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it just made so much sense because, I was in this small room that was like 100 square feet. But you let me set up a gym on the balcony. So I was like, okay, I can live in this sweet ass house. I can create content all the time. I can have people over and nobody's going to complain. I have a gym on the balcony. It's going to help me expand my clients, create more social media content. To me, it was an absolute no-brainer.
Yeah. Little did we know, we got ourselves into, I guess, more. You had
We
a
really
little
needed
bit
a
of
reality
drama.
TV show.
Yeah, we really should have had a reality TV show. Just so much stuff went down, and it's a lot to even get into for this episode. We might have to do like a content
Dedicated
house,
Casablanca
and maybe we
episode.
get a reunion.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. But yeah, long story short, like we said, there's a lot of things that went down. I think the craziest thing is like the hauntedness of it. This was before you moved in, but whenever we got there, they were doing a Kabbalah, I believe it's called. And I remember signing the papers and asking the owner, what are they doing in there? And he was like, oh, we're just cleansing the house. We're blessing it, blah, blah, blah. No big deal. And he told us like it was a Kabbalah, etc. And I was like, okay, like I'm all about saging and like getting out bad spirits. But yeah, so I was like, okay, clear out the bad energy. Cool. Fast forward to us living there. There were some like weird things that went on. I remember like the chandelier would move. There was like one instance where I need to put the clip in and find it. But when I was out of town, I had the camera in my room. Do you remember that? No one was at home. And the door was open to my bathroom and it just like slammed shut so hard. And nobody was home. Like my doors would randomly open. So whenever we moved out, I asked the owner, I was like, okay, now that we're moving out, can you tell us, is this house haunted? And he literally verbatim told me, he was like, now that you're moving out, yeah, but it's all good spirits. It's nothing bad or like anything that's going to attach to you. I'm a very good reader. It's all clear. And I'm like, okay. Then I remember we deep dive into looking up the house, and it used to be a halfway house or a sobriety house.
One of the two.
Yeah, halfway house or sobriety house for women. Tell them about the time that the lady showed up at our doorstep. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh my God. We were all downstairs and I think we were like pre-gaming or something. And all of a sudden this cracked out lady walks up the stairs and walks in the house.
I don't remember that at all.
Oh my gosh. Yes, it literally happened. I will back up my story whenever we do a reunion. But yeah, she walks in and she thinks that it's still a halfway house and she was looking for treatment or she was like doing something. And we are like, no, it isn't still a house.
You're like, no, this is actually an alcoholic's house now.
It's actually the opposite. The bad spirits took over. And
we're throwing a party. You want a drink?
Yeah, literally. I used to like sage the shit out of my room. I was like, not tonight. Yeah. But yeah, what was your favorite memory in the house?
There was a lot. How PG are we talking?
Oh, you can just...
There's a lot from like crazy, and I got a lap dance drunk one night and dated that girl for 2 years. That's pretty interesting. I think a couple other cool memories were getting to train Angus Cloud from Euphoria.
Oh
That
yeah.
was super cool. I trained him
Wait,
for.
you trained him
Were you not paying attention?
there? No.
Yeah, no, I trained Angus Cloud for 3 months for Euphoria season 2.
Shut up.
Yeah, you might have just thought he was some random or
Yeah,
something.
guys, he would bring in really cool people, and I'm just so oblivious. Or I'm like, everyone's successful in their own way.
I mean, he's a very normal looking guy.
Yeah.
So I think maybe he's very down to earth. But yeah, he'd always show up in his like old beat up Nissan Pathfinder. I could hear him from a mile away because he just had his like trap just blasting and he had subs in his car. So you just hear
Oh my gosh.
and he'd pull up. But yeah, I trained him for 2 or 3 months. And for a Calvin shoot, Euphoria season 2, RIP Angus. He was
Yeah.
an amazing person. That was tons of fun. And then obviously Jaden, as you mentioned earlier, training Jaden Hostler for his,
Wait, that's so crazy. He died.
overdosed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Where was I?
Probably one of the reasons you might not have been as aware is because I had to sign an NDA when I trained him. So I never posted about him on social media. So all the other clients that were like big TikTokers or influencers I'd obviously post about on TikTok or Instagram, but I wasn't allowed to post about
No, this
him.
makes so much sense because I literally, okay, I watched like one season of Euphoria, but I didn't watch all of them.
Okay.
And I remember when he died, a bunch of our friends were posting about him. And I was like, literally, I feel like I've met this guy or I know him somehow.
I feel like you definitely would have met him. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. He was at our house every day.
Yeah, no, literally full circle. Yes. Okay. That makes so much more sense because I was like, I know that I know him from somewhere and I feel it's not in passing. It's like I've spoken to him.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
He had the funniest lingo too. Like
Aw.
he talked like such a like hood boy. It was so funny. He's like, "Yo, I'm finna be late, bro. I'm pulling up right now."
Sick. He had swag.
But yeah, him and then Jaden Hostler for his like first tour ever with MGK. So
I do
training him
remember
for
that.
tour, that was a ton of fun. And then I got to go to his show, got to meet everybody, got to meet the Kardashians. And
Who was your favorite?
probably Courtney,
Yeah.
but it was very short lasted, not long enough to really get to know somebody.
Right.
And then this person's less famous in the grand scheme of things, but when I originally moved out to LA for music, there was a performance on America's Got Talent by a singer named Brian Justin Crumb, and he did this
Okay.
cover of Creep. And it's probably the single most influential thing I've ever seen in terms of like my singing career. I was
Mhm.
like, that is so cool. And I thought his performance was so captivating. And I followed him, and I think like he followed me back, and things just ended up working out. And I was like, hey, if you ever want to come by the house, I'd love to train you sometime. So I end up giving him a free training session. And I'm sure you remember
I do remember
we had
that.
a grand piano in our living room.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I was like, would you be willing to sing Creep with me, the song he did on America's Got Talent? And we did. And I was super nervous. My fingers were shaking playing the chords. And I performed awfully. But it was just such a cool experience. Like seeing somebody on America's Got Talent that like changed the trajectory of my life, training them at my house in Century City, and then getting to play piano and sing the exact song that like had such an impact on my life. So that was
Yeah.
crazy.
I had a lot of fun though. And I don't necessarily miss living there, but I miss being around like a community. Like I feel like you and Aiden, I would always go to your room and talk to you guys and having you guys there, just whenever. And yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
So-
We were the non-dramatic one.
Yeah.
I was a little bit messy. I had my pile of stuff.
Oh,
I had
yeah,
my
yeah.
little corner that was ever growing. but-
Yeah, I would lock myself in my room sometimes.
Probably my favorite person to train at the house. Angus was really cool because it was like totally new and I'd never trained a TV star before. But Jaden was just like somebody that you met that the first time you meet him just feels like your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of TikTokers get into music, but I genuinely really liked his. It was like totally up my vein. It was like pop punk. And every day he would just work his ass off. So training Jaden was like such a cool experience.
Yeah, and every time I met him, he was from Texas. He was so sweet. Wait, didn't you train Bryce in, what's his name?
Oh yeah, all the TikTokers. Bryce, Noah, Blake Ray,
Yeah.
Taylor Holder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Speaking of training influencers, celebrities, I want to touch on your training now, what you're
Okay.
doing, where you're training. Do you do remote training?
Yeah, I actually am starting online coaching November 1st.
Oh, just online coaching or
No, I still train clients in person, but
Okay.
I've never really expanded to doing one-on-one coaching online, so this will be my first time doing it.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's the craziest transition you've seen recently?
What do you mean in terms of transformations of my clients and stuff?
Yeah.
It's funny, I have 3 or 4 primary clients right now, and a lot of them have similar things. Like one person's like quitting alcohol and they're getting their life together. They have a couple rough events and they're trying to get their life together. So we have physical goals, but a lot of it's mental too, which
Cool.
is really cool. Like how much the gym has changed their life and show them about discipline and working hard. One of my clients has struggled with like drug addiction and opioid addiction, and he's like trying to make a really positive change and create a positive routine. And then I've got clients that are just normal people looking to lose weight, and they've seen like crazy results, and it's just been like fun to be a part of.
That's cool. So for your online training, do you basically do a consultation and then send them over like a program to complete, or do you do it? Because I know that some trainers do like video whenever they do their training.
Yeah, so it'll have like weekly calls. Because basically right now, anybody that I want to train is limited to Los Angeles. And
Okay.
yeah, is one-on-one training probably the most efficient? Sure. But there's a lot of people from different parts of the world that either watch my social media content or want to get in shape, and I haven't had an option for them other than like purchasing a workout program. So coaching was like the perfect opportunity to be like, hey, I'll help you in every way possible and do everything I can in my power to help you reach those goals, whether it's a workout plan, a diet plan, weekly coaching, making sure all the exercises, helping you stay committed, and like access to text me anytime. So if you're ever confused, you don't have any reason to fall off.
Yeah, I think that is so important too. I can speak from my experience, but anytime I've been on a consistent workout routine, my mental health is always better. Even if it's like walking 10,000 steps a day or like whatever it
Some
may be.
form of consistent activity.
Yeah, getting outside or getting in the gym or mentally, it always feels a little bit more freeing. So that's cool that you're incorporating that.
Yeah,
because
it'd be fun.
It's like a built-in trainer, therapist, and nutritionist, all for the small price of, we don't know. Depends.
TBA.
TBD who you are.
TBA, TBD. That's who you are. Yeah, for real.
Okay, and so with the online training, is that a part of your app or that's completely different?
Completely different. Yeah.
Okay, so I need to hear about this app.
So the app all kind of started, it's always been like a dream of mine, honestly, but it takes a lot of money to make an app. So in the past, I made workout programs and people saw a lot of success with them, honestly. My first workout program, it's so cool that my first workout program had so much success and saw so many crazy testimonials, which I feel like I'm lucky, honestly. And just hearing some of the testimonials, like I've had people FaceTime me and they're crying because like their life has changed. And it's not like overly dramatic people. Like it can just be some normal dude. Like there's a guy in Mexico that FaceTime me and he's, I've never wanted a photo taken of me before. And to hear, I love to go out now. I'm always taking photos of myself. You've given me a life that like I never even thought was possible. And just hearing genuine feedback like that is crazy. Super thankful that I had success with my first program. But that wasn't the end goal. It was like my entry into a world where I always wanted to do something bigger. And the problem with fitness and fitness apps is that there's apps that can help you track your calories and there are apps that can help you work out. But there's nothing that I've really seen that bridges the gap between them. And it's a lot to take on and it's a really bold concept. But in my mind, I'm like, I don't even care if I make money on this. I just need to do this because I know it's what's right. And if there's somebody out there that lives in some place across the world and they either are inexperienced or have some experience, I want to be able to provide a tool to people that you can know absolutely nothing about fitness. And this app has everything you need. And if you know anything about marketing, it's a terrible idea. It's actually a terrible idea because you need to have your niche. You need to have your select thing that you can market to your exact demographic. So to make something to say, hey, this can be for everyone, I'm shooting myself in the foot, honestly, because it's like, who's your target market? Well, it's everybody. Because I want to create a tool that anybody can use, that anybody can sign up. You enter your genetic information, your age, height, your gender, your weight, and it will provide you your calories, your nutrition, your workouts, everything you need to be the healthiest and best version of you.
Is that like auto-generated or
Auto-generated. So I have certain formulas that I've developed or use like very proven scientific formulas for weight loss or weight gain or muscle mass growth. And so essentially the app, it's Intake.
Intake, love the name.
And when you sign up, you enter the data, like your genetic data, you enter your goals. And like I said, it provides you your calorie intake, your protein, your carbs, your fat, your micronutrients. It suggests workout programs for your goal. And they're very comprehensive workout programs and I hired some of the best trainers in LA because it's not an Alex Hager app. In the past, my stuff has been the Alex Hager workout program or whatever. But I know that not everybody wants to look like me, or they might have different goals, or maybe it's not bodybuilding, maybe it's yoga, maybe it's Pilates. So I set out to, in my eyes, create the most complete workout app that can help everybody. So we've got Pilates programs, yoga programs, at-home workouts, body weight programs, mass gain programs, weight loss programs, and it costs a ton of money to make it happen. I'm not going to lie.
This is a lot.
But I really think it can be special. And I tried to answer all the problems that other apps have had. For example, if you go out to eat and you're going to some burger joint at, let's say, some local spot, if you were to use MyFitnessPal, which is a super popular calorie tracking app.
You still always use that.
Yeah, and it's a great app. I'm not here to diss on the app. It's helped. They have 100 million users. It's a huge app. It's by far the biggest calorie tracking app, and a lot of people have had amazing stories using it. But it really serves one purpose, and that's calorie tracking. It doesn't have workouts, and that's why, once again, I was inspired to create Intake. But let's say you're going out to a local burger joint and you want to order a burger. See, MyFitnessPal does really well with like things you might get from the grocery store that you make where you know the calories of all the ingredients and you can track them. But what about when you're going out somewhere that's not in some public database? What if you're going out somewhere where their nutritional information isn't publicly available? That's where I'm utilizing AI in my app, and I think it can be really game-changing. Anywhere you go, whether it's a pasta dish or a sandwich or steak and mashed potatoes, you can simply take a photo of the food, and it will use AI to analyze all the nutritional data and tell you the ingredients that are involved.
No way.
It's super comprehensive, it's mind-blowing, and it's only getting better with time. And on average, it can give you the nutritional data and ingredients within 5% accuracy, or like 95% accuracy. It gives 5% for error. Crazy. And there have been studies that show that when people go out and they try to guess the calories of what they're eating, their degree of error is 20% or greater. It's usually never less than 20. Their accuracy is usually never more than 80. It's usually 80 or less. Even though the AI is not a point where it's perfect yet, being able to be 95% accurate is already substantially more accurate than most humans would be able to do.
Oh my gosh.
So I think it can be really life-changing. If you're told, here's your calories, here's your nutrition, if you're making everything yourself, super easy. We can look up all those ingredients, we can save it. If you make a meal super often, you can create your own meal and save that for future use for really quick entry. Or if you're going out, you don't have to worry. You can take a photo of it and you have all the information you need.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. And then it creates a whole nutrition plan for you as well.
Yeah. So it has lots of diet plans that are available too. So whether you're into vegan, keto, paleo,
this is
a
like
high protein
night
diet.
And day, like exponentially like more than what we talked about whenever you were asking me about logos.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
I've
I'm
been
so
busy.
proud of you.
I've been busy.
No, that's so exciting. And hopefully it's launching January 1st.
Yeah.
It's called Intake.
Yeah.
And where can people download it?
Everywhere. App Store, Google Play.
Okay. Android? Is that Android?
Yeah, it's Google Play.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Those green textures. Ugh.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't. I'm too
Just
lazy.
kidding. I love you. Download my app.
We are going to do the Dear Dry Diaries segment. Basically, this is where people will submit anonymous questions, whether it's through email or through Instagram story. So submit your questions, and my friends and I will answer them. A lot of these are relationship, and so I think it's good to get a guy's perspective.
Okay.
Sorry they're a little girly, but
I'll do my best.
you have a lot of relationship experience.
For better or for worse.
Right, exactly. Dear Dry Diaries, I love my boyfriend, but his family constantly makes negative comments about our relationship. I'm starting to feel like it'll always be this way. Should I address it, or is this a sign it's not meant to be?
That's tough. I've personally never been in a situation like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they felt a certain way about me, they never said it to my face or made it super obvious. I don't know. I think the only I wouldn't want to end a relationship about like that if you really cared about the person. So I think I would just be like, skip the BS and go have a conversation. Because it sounds like this person hasn't yet had a direct conversation with the family.
Right.
And just try to simmer the beef and try to see where they're coming from and see if there's some form of common ground.
Yeah.
Because if you really love each other, I don't know. I think that would be such a stupid reason for things not to work.
Right. I am mixed on this question because I think that if I don't know how serious you are with this person, but if you plan on marrying this person, I always keep in mind like you are marrying who their family is as well.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you have kids, you want them around. Like my family were very family oriented, so I want everyone to be together. If there's a little bit of dysfunction or whatever this may feel like, it could carry on into the marriage and then cause issues. I don't know how serious you guys are. I, like you said, would have a conversation first. Maybe, I don't know. I don't want to say it's in your head, but unless you've done something tragically wrong, I can't imagine like why parents would hate a significant other that much.
Yeah, I could see maybe a family being like super judgmental about certain things,
Yeah.
but like I feel like most of the things, by just taking a really calm, don't go into it with a lot of emotion or angry or triggered, just try to be understanding, try to listen,
Yeah.
but also just engage and being like, all right, what's up? Because I really care about this person and I don't want this to be the reason we,
Right. Dear Dry Diaries, I constantly feel like I'm not fit enough or attractive enough, even though I try to take care of myself. How do I overcome feeling this way about myself and being so hard and insecure?
If you need a personal trainer, I know a guy.
Right.
I feel like this is coming down to like body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, training isn't always going to get you there. But I think the first thing, obviously I'm super biased, but having some sort of like physical routine. It doesn't always mean you have to be a size 0 or perfect looking. But when you're putting in effort every single day to make yourself feel better physically, and especially when it's like a healthy, positive thing,
Yeah.
I think that's going to help. If you're still insecure and you still have issues, like I'm not going to have the perfect answer.
Yeah.
But I think just making some form of positive change, even if you're not immediately where you want to be, I think you'll just start feeling a lot better about yourself very quickly.
To piggyback off of that, I would say that a lot of girls, I'm assuming because it said she, but a lot of girls have body dysmorphia. You're not the only one that deals with insecurities or lack of confidence. Not to discredit, obviously, the way that you feel, but you're not alone in the way that you feel. I think it's an ongoing battle for a lot of females. I personally have struggled with that for a long time, body dysmorphia, and I would say when I finally became comfortable in my own skin, obviously insecurities creep up all the time, but it was really when I did the inner work within myself and just became really confident about who I am and just mentally the way that I'm feeling and the way that I'm thinking. And honestly, I've talked about it on other podcasts, but affirmations and really self-talk is huge, because every day if you wake up and you say, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm this, I'm that, and
You'll
pick
believe
yourself
it.
apart, yeah, you start to believe that mentally. And trust me, like I've been there, still there sometimes, but you start to believe it and you physically start to see that in yourself. Like you do not see what other people see. And so even days when I do feel fat or I do feel insecure, I will either write down in my diary journal or say it verbally out loud is, I do love myself. I am confident. I am secure. Just repetitive affirmations can come a long way. And so I would really, if I was giving my advice, it would be to start thinking of the affirmational part and self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, like Alex said, start taking those daily steps to maybe walking 10,000 steps a day.
Mm-hmm.
And you can start small and get big. But yeah. Dear Dry Diaries, it's been years since my ex and I broke up. I still think about him constantly. We don't communicate, but literally I can't get over him. When I'm out, I feel like nobody compares to him or what we had. How do I move on when I'm still in love with him?
Let me know when you find out.
You're not over your ex?
No, I'm kidding.
No,
Am
you're
I?
not.
No, that one hits home for sure. Like, I was that way for a really long time. And I think that there's some people that play such a huge part in your life, and you might feel like some sort of depth of a connection or relationship that might not ever totally go away.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we just have to come to terms with accepting that.
Yeah.
And I think how you feel about it just changes over time, and it can take a lot of time. But obviously, you know, one of them, and that person, I don't think about that person every day necessarily, but I think about them often. But it's just how you respond emotionally and how you feel just changes over time. Mm-hmm. I can still acknowledge how deep of a connection I have with that person. And slowly you just come to terms with the fact that maybe that's not my person, but think about what you can learn from it.
Yeah.
That situation went on for so long, probably longer than it should have, and it brought out the worst in so many ways. It brought out the best of us in so many ways. And I can look back on that relationship and think about, what can I learn from this? In that relationship specifically, I learned more about myself in that relationship than I probably did in 10 years. It taught me who I was. It showed me my flaws. It showed me some of my good qualities. And it made me realize what I do and what I don't want in a relationship. Mm-hmm. And if your relationship crumbled out and things didn't turn out, there was probably a reason for that. And that is going to take time to accept. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be hard at first. But I think you'll realize that instead of just like being so sad about the way things turned out, and it might take time to meet somebody that like has the same sparkle that relationship had, but use it as a learning experience and realize, if I had this deep of a connection with somebody, what can I take away? What can I work on? What can I prevent in the future? What means the most to me? What am I really looking for? So I think it can just provide a lot of insight. And over time, it doesn't mean you're going to forget about the person. It doesn't mean that you're ever going to totally not care about them. But how you respond to it will change. And the way it emotionally makes you feel will change. Like I said, you're never going to completely forget about them. Maybe you could do that if you want to, but that's not the way things have worked for me. But I've just always tried to use it as a learning lesson and a reminder of, I'm grateful that I had a connection so deep with somebody, because really I hadn't in such a long time, that it was a reminder that like I can love somebody. I'm still capable of that. I know I can do it again. Sometimes I don't feel that way. It's easy to be like, oh, I'm never going to feel this way again. I'm never going to love somebody, or they're never going to be this and that and everything. But you can find somebody new, and you can take everything you've learned, and I promise you it will lead to a better relationship.
Yeah, total agreement. That's what I was going to say, is I always look at relationships as each one is basically a stepping stone to the partner you're supposed to be with, whether you believe in a soulmate or you want to get married, whatever it may be. I think that, like you said, each relationship is purposefully put in your life for a reason and a season, which sounds crazy, like cliche, but it's so true. And as far as getting over your boyfriend, I think that from personal experience, the only relationship that honestly took me longer than a couple months to get over, Sagittarius here, was my high school boyfriend. And I think that's because my first love, I don't know if we were necessarily in love, but like first kiss, first this, first that. And of course there's going to be like some emotional tie, and like it took me a couple years to get over that.
Especially because there's nobody else prior. So no, this was the person. There's nobody else.
Yeah,
you know?
and I like broke up with him in a really abrupt way. I was like, can we go on a break? He's no. And I was like, okay, we're done. For like years. Like just not, obviously I was immature, but
that's how I picture you breaking up with everybody.
okay, we're done. But if it's been years since you've dated this person and you still have such strong feelings for him, 1, stop looking at his social media.
Yeah.
2, if you need to block this person to not see what he's doing or be tempted to look at what he's doing, then please do that. That doesn't make you a bad person or whatever people call it.
I've blocked and unblocked my ex probably more times than I've brushed my teeth.
Yeah. So you have to do what's best for you. And so I would say block him if you are looking at his social media, and honestly, like, just focus on yourself and prioritize yourself, and the person that you're supposed to be with next will come along. For, again, myself personally, like, my last relationship was like a year and a half ago, and this whole year I've spent so much time focusing on myself. Dating has not even been at the forefront of my mind or a priority.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to really do some self growth and come to a certain point where I felt comfortable with myself to start dating, and I was ready for that. Because obviously the next person I want to date is like someone that I see longevity with. Girl, do you focus on yourself, prioritize yourself. The person that you're supposed to be with or date is going to come in the right timing, and don't force anything. But in the meantime, if you want to go out and have fun, stop thinking about him, especially if he's moved on, like, move on. I'm like such a Sagittarius. It's so bad. Like, emotionally, if I break up with someone, I just out of sight, out of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I like get
I'm
into
not as good as you.
I get into a mode where I'm like, okay, Alex, focus on yourself, do your thing. And I think for the first couple weeks after, I would like reminisce or think about it. But then snap into it. I'm like, no, you deserve better. There's more coming. Someone better out there for you. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
obviously,
as good at you.
Yeah, obviously
the girl
it's not
I was
that
talking
easy.
to. This is actually the most mutual breakup I've ever had in my life. I don't even know if it was a breakup because we weren't technically boyfriend and girlfriend, but we were seeing each other for a while, and we just knew things weren't like progressing in the right way. Mm-hmm. And it was never unhealthy and it was never bad. But I think it was just like there was this expectation that we're going to be boyfriend and girlfriend. It just like never ended up happening.
Yeah.
Obviously, it takes 2 to tango, but
was it on your end or her end?
In terms of what?
The expectation of like dating boyfriend girlfriend.
I would say it usually falls on the guy. It doesn't have to, but I think culturally, societally, it's probably more often than it happens with the guy. And I just wasn't in a situation mentally. I feel like that sounds like a cop-out, but it was the genuine truth. Where I just was very unhappy with myself, career-wise, mentally, personally, that I just felt wrong to bring someone along for the ride.
Yeah.
Especially when it seemed like their life was together a lot more. So then we decided to like just say, hey, let's just be friends. And then 3 weeks later, it was like, what's up?
No, don't do that. But honestly,
Can we be really good friends?
No, you cannot be friends. I think that there's like a weird, so like if you date someone for a very short amount of time and you guys mutually in a mature way, we're not compatible, we just don't work out, let's just be friends. Totally agree with that. I think that's fine. I've had a couple, like 1 or 2 instances like that. But if you are in a relationship like that was serious with like longevity behind it, I think that you guys can be cordial, but I don't really see a purpose in having a friendship, especially when they're, like you said, you hold on to a piece of that person and somewhere inside of you, that connection's still going to be there. It's how, that's my opinion, but
yeah, I think you're pretty spot on. I think like maybe situationally there are some exceptions.
Yeah.
But like you obviously know my ex.
Yeah.
And in the back of my mind, like somebody that wasn't just like your girlfriend, but like your best friend essentially, there's definitely a part of me that's
you miss them.
Damn, like I miss them. I wish I could hang out with them or see them on occasion. But then I also know in the back of my head, I'm like, there's no way in hell it's ever going to work.
Yeah. I respect a guy so much more for being upfront and honest and telling them, hey, I don't see this going where you plan it to go to, and end it right then and there, because at least you're being upfront and honest and you're not leading someone on a year or 2 years down the road, and it's going to make it hard for both of you guys.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Okay, we have to wrap this up, and thank you, Alex, for coming on. It was so good seeing you. Thank you guys for listening to this entry, and make sure to check out next week's episode. Bye.